This creepy video was posted to Reddit by the user No Recognition 1998, where they wrote that it comes from a trail cam in Idaho that was 20 miles out into the woods. Where the video was taken, they said, is literally in the middle of nowhere, and there would be no reason for someone to be this far out into the isolated woods, especially at this time of night. So that leads me to what the video catches. At 4:37 a.m., what is this that appears on the trail cam? Someone or some kind of creature is caught walking past this trail cam. It definitely appears to be human-like, but there is also something extremely off-putting about whatever this thing is, aside from the other bizarre details surrounding this encounter. What do you think this trail cam caught? In our number 9 spot today, we have the Mothman. This next creepy video was posted to TikTok, and it shows a possible encounter with the famous cryptid, the Mothman. If you're a fan of this channel, I'm sure you're familiar with the legend of the Mothman, but if not, it started all back on a dark November night in 1966. Two couples claimed that they saw a huge bird-like monster that had red, glowing eyes. They claimed they saw it while they were cruising down a back road near Point Pleasant, which sits in rural West Virginia. They explained that whatever this creature was, it rose into the air, unfolded these huge bat-like wings, and chased them as they sped away as fast as they could, completely frightened by what they had just seen. From here, stories of the Mothman continued to spread, with more sightings coming in the following weeks, and since then, the Mothman has been an enduring mystery, with some swearing that he exists, and still, to this day, there are reported sightings. Now back to the video. The video shows people recording as they are on a dark trail when they stumble upon a weird scene. It appears as though there is some kind of a creature, maybe eating a human? They begin to get closer to whatever is going on, and you can hear the disbelief in their voice over what they are seeing. Suddenly, it appears as though the creature knows it's being watched, and it starts kind of moving closer to the people recording, and at the end of the day, it doesn't appear as though this Mothman is too fazed by the onlookers, and it just continues to do whatever it was doing with the man in the road. In our number 8 spot today, we have the weird creature. Do you believe in aliens? Or things we can't necessarily prove are real? This next video might just make you a believer. This video was taken in the Acadian woods here in Canada, and it captures a creature that honestly defies explanation. The creature appears to be sitting on some kind of stone structure as those who found it begin recording it. The creature doesn't appear frightened or threatening, but it is totally unlike anything I've ever seen before. It definitely gives off a strange alien feeling, especially with its elongated head seen in the video, but the creature also has a sort of bug-like appearance as well, like it's some kind of grasshopper or something similar. The creature seems to be pretty calm, but it does start to make some inhuman noises. At the end of the day, it is still totally unknown what this creature is, or could be, so if you have an idea, let us know. In our number 7 spot today, we have the abandoned house. This video starts off with people looking through an abandoned house, but they get quite a surprise. The 2-minute long video is mostly just the people walking through the house, searching around for whatever they can find. I mean, the vibes are very creepy. It's an abandoned house and it's dark outside. Around the 50-second mark, however, they find what looks like a newspaper and they begin talking to each other. I have no idea what they are saying because it's not in English, but I'm going to assume they are talking about the paper because they zoom in on it. They begin to continue through the house when the person holding the camera finally sees it. Over in the corner is a little girl. Whether this is a real little girl or some kind of ghost or demon is tough to say, but to be honest, none of these are really great options. The clip shows his initial reaction, but it's kind of tough to see the little girl, so the video then slows it down and brightens it up a bit so we can get a good look at what the video captured. In our number 6 spot today, we have the mermaid. Could mermaids really be real, and maybe just not the beautiful sirens we tend to think of them as? Well, this guy may have just found some proof. This video comes from a man who is walking along the beach when he finds something unusual. When he posted it to TikTok, he claimed that he believes he found the remains of a mermaid, and honestly, once I watched the video, I could definitely understand why he would say this. At first, when he goes to pick this item up, it appears like maybe it's just some branches tangled together, but soon we see that there is so much more going on here. The object he is holding resembles the skeleton of a small mermaid-like creature, complete with the infamous tail. You can see a rib cage, skinny little arms, a head. I don't know, this thing is weird, and honestly, it's really unsettling. Possibly the most unsettling part of this video, however, is when the man just drops the skeleton back into the water like it wasn't the possible remains of a once living creature. Just no respect for the mermaids, I guess. In our number 5 spot today, we have the fallen angel. This video follows two men entering some kind of a forest when they start to come across these really large feathers. They continue on their journey into the woods and follow wherever the feathers are leading them. Eventually, they come across some sort of creature that looks like a man with a wound in his back, but it is definitely pretty difficult to see. Now comes the most cursed part. This man creature thing then turns his head and his eyes are illuminated by the light from the camera. This creature is meant to be a fallen angel. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this video isn't actually real footage and was made by some Spanish horror film fans, but it is still very cursed and very creepy. If I didn't know that this video was fake, I honestly maybe would have believed it, okay? In our number 4 spot today, we have Bigfoot. No trail cam video is complete without an alleged Bigfoot sighting. This video comes from a hunter, and it has a super creepy backstory, not your typical Bigfoot kind of video. The hunter explained that he had found human remains in this makeshift kind of shelter out in the woods, and because of this extremely creepy encounter, he decided to set up a secret trail camera that points at this creepy shelter to see what he would be able to find out. Around sunset the next day, the trail camera captures this. You can see a strange figure come out from the woods and rustle around near this makeshift shelter. The creature is covered in thick fur, and this, coupled with its slightly human-like behavior, has made many speculate that this is indeed a sighting of the legendary Bigfoot. After the creature stands around for a bit, it soon heads back into the forest, but not before picking up a giant log and throwing it at the camera, knocking it over. Perhaps the trail camera wasn't quite as inconspicuous as the hunter might have thought. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Brontosaurus. Dinosaurs are extinct, right? Well, this trail camera video was posted to TikTok, and honestly it left me a little speechless. The date and timestamp on this video show that it was taken around 1:56 a.m. on March 15th of this year. It starts off with just the typical trail cam setup, but you can hear something as it walks into frame. Suddenly, we see a creature with a long neck begin to enter. Its lumbering steps can be heard as it continues on, and once it's fully in frame, it is clear as day that this is a dinosaur. Likely some kind of brontosaur. Nothing super scary happens as this dino walks through the frame, but it is so surreal to see a prehistoric creature mixed in with our more modern times. I know that this video is likely just some good CGI, but what if it wasn't? In our number 2 spot today, we have the levitation. This video starts off with a man and his dog walking through some kind of forest in the snow. They're playing fetch, and the man throws the ball, and the dog chases after it, but when the owner calls the dog back, the dog has clearly seen something else, and he begins running off. This is all fine and well, nothing wrong with a little fetch, but when the man follows the dog to see where he's going, they come across something super strange. It is literally a girl levitating in the air. She's with another person, and it's kind of unclear if he is the one who is levitating her or if she's doing it herself, but either way, when they realize that someone is watching them, she quickly returns to the ground and they both run off, extremely guilty. I know the clip is really grainy and hard to see, but there is definitely something super weird going on here. Witchcraft, aliens, I don't know. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the creature. This trail camera caught some sort of humanoid creature as it walks across the trail. This animal or creature or whatever it is definitely appears slightly human, but it doesn't walk like a human or really like an animal either for that matter. This thing slowly moves on all fours as it lumbers through this forest kind of area. It's got long, awkward limbs, and it doesn't really appear like anything that is known to science, which is why people speculate that this thing is either a demon or some currently undiscovered cryptid. Whatever it is, it's safe to say that I don't want to encounter it.
So just what in the hell are we looking at here? I don't know, but I can say for sure that I don't like it. They look like the ghost girl from Ringu poking her head out of the water. They're pale with long black hair covering most of their faces, if these even are faces we're looking at here. It's hard to tell. You'll also notice they seem to have glowing reflective eyes. So the story behind this clip is that back in April of this year, a trail cam was set up right at the edge of a river where locals had been experiencing strange things, telling stories of dark spirits lurking in the water. Now, as for where the footage comes from, I've seen comments saying it's a river called Namor Ong. I tried to look up Namor Ong and I can't find any info on that place, so please let me know in the comments if you know anything about that or if Namor Ong even exists at all. Anyway, a pretty spooky clip. This next piece of trail cam footage comes from a TikToker named The Most Mandy, who posted this eerie footage captured by the security camera outside her home in the Appalachian Mountains. So we see a figure in a long white robe moving across her property, at one point saying, "Let me in this very craggly, almost witch-like voice. She gets closer and closer to the house until the motion sensors go off and she retreats back into the shadows. Here's another clip taken by a camera at another part of the house. We can hear the woman better in this clip, not that we really want to. Well, you know what? She sold me. I'd have let her in. I mean, how could anyone turn down such a soothing, friendly voice like that? Back in June, a hunter placed a trail camera in the woods expecting to pick up animals. Instead, he captured this odd scene. At about 2 a.m., a figure wearing what looks like a long dress steps out from the shadows and passes the camera. Who was this person and what were they doing in the middle of the woods at 2 in the morning? Well, they were running from someone or something. As the video continues, we see a dark mass crawl out of the depths of the thicket. As the thing gets closer, we notice it's crawling. It looks like it has long dark hair and reflective eyes. The rest of its face is hard to make out, but there's something not quite right about whatever this thing is. This next video was also captured by a trail cam in the Appalachian Mountains. It was posted by Elizabeth Maynard 98, who captured something incredibly unsettling moving across her property, and there were a pair of them. When they first pass by, it's hard to make out what these things are, but they're clearly walking on all fours. They move off camera before turning around and passing the camera again, this time walking on their hind legs, looking much more humanoid, but no less disturbing. They're incredibly thin with glowing eyes and look to be hairless, almost like your classic stereotypical alien. They also walk with this very unnatural gait, taking these itty-bitty little steps, almost like they're not used to walking upright. Some commenters also think these creatures look like rakes, skinwalkers, or possible wendigos, but what do you all think? This is a very strange post from about 9 months back by Reddit user What Did You Do, Ray, who was seeking out help about the odd behavior he was experiencing with his trail camera, writing, "This trail cam is at a Christmas tree farm in Bedford, Pennsylvania. There are no buildings, lights, or structures in the area at all where this cam is. Every night for the past 2 months, my cam takes a picture at exactly 12:05 and 1 second in the AM. There is never anything in the pics. No deer, squirrels, foxes, etc. Recently, the pictures have shown a red light being cast across the top of the trees. One pic shows the red light to be extremely bright and def in a circle around the trees. And then there is the picture from March 5th of 2024 that shows 2 blurs, one directly above one of the trees and a very similar blur to the right on the ground just off the road. The odder thing is that this picture's timestamp is at 12:05 and 2 seconds. It's the only picture in the entire series of pics from the past 2 months that was taken 1 second later. Now, he also posted in the comments later that he'd switched the camera to take video instead of pictures at one point, and that the camera would successfully take video at any other time of day except 12:05 a.m., where it wouldn't take video when the sensor went off at that time, only taking a picture. Definitely strange. So the question is, what's causing this camera to go off? Well, something was hovering above the trees, casting a red light at the exact same time of night every night for 2 months. So this image was posted to Reddit by user PHFM 4 months ago, with the caption reading, "Friend's trail cam in North Carolina." Now, I would be pretty alarmed knowing this thing was lurking around in the dark anywhere near me. The immediate thought is, well, that doesn't look right. This is a hairy creature standing on 2 legs, must be Bigfoot. Well, probably not. I mean, this could easily be a black bear. Bears do stand on their hind legs, and it could be hunching over, which is why you can't see its head, but even still, there's just something creepy about this image. It just looks oddly human to me. It's the best way I can describe it. What do you think though? Bear, Bigfoot, werewolf, skinwalker, and mid-transformation? Let us know in the comments. Back in July of this year, the Instagram account Lower Florida Bucks posted this series of images here with the description reading, "I've had some strange trail cam pics sent in through the years, but these from Roberts Lowell might just take the cake." He got pics of this person/creature on 2 separate cameras and swears they're legit. He also said these were taken on a property 12 miles from the nearest town. What do y'all make of it? And that's a very good question. What do you make of whatever this is? It's hard to make anything out because of how blurry the figure is. Clearly it was darting around at a good speed. I can say this though, it doesn't look human, at least not exactly. This next Reddit post is from 2 months back. JT245 writes, "Hello. After looking at some old photos from a trail camera, I noticed a silhouette in the background and a white spot on the second photo. My brother was alone and has no explanation. What are your theories?" Now, take a real close look at these images and see if you can spot anything. It's hard to notice at first, but look at the middle right-hand side of the first image. We'll zoom in and circle it for you. Okay, so it's a shape that sorta has a form you might be able to recognize as a person, maybe. This wouldn't be all that strange on its own, but now take another look at the second picture. Whatever that shape is, it isn't there anymore. Now, I couldn't spot the white spot the uploader described in the second picture, but if you can find it, let us know down in the comments. But that figure is kind of strange. It's pretty small. Some people have said it looks like almost maybe it could be a fae. I don't know. So this next story may be not a creature captured on trail cam, but it's equally, if not more disturbing. This woman here was captured on a deer cam in the woods, going back and forth in the dark for hours, barefoot. The owner of the property was pretty alarmed when he saw the images, making a post online about it, reading, "Does anyone recognize this girl/woman? She appeared on my trail camera in July of this year at 5 a.m. She was barefoot and appears to be running. She isn't in any trouble with me, just curious who she is, what she was doing, and if she's okay. If you recognize her, please message me. I've been baffled by this for a month, mainly because the woods can be tough walking with boots. I contacted police as soon as I discovered the photos. They were baffled as well." Now, some commenters say she may just have been on a run, but apparently there are no trails nearby, and the area she was running in has a thicket that the property owner's dog won't even go through. It's just thick vegetation. No one would be wandering through there, especially at night barefoot. So it's just all very strange and kind of concerning. At the time of this recording, Redditor Apart Operation 329 just made this post a little over a week ago with the caption, "Humanoid found on trail cam." They went on to write, "My friend sent this to our group chat a while back. I don't know why I just now bothered to post it, but I wanted to know if anyone here could identify this thing. We can't tell if it's a person or not. Not sure if this is the right sub to put this in, but any help is appreciated." Now, what we see here is immediately off-putting. To me, this thing looks way too strange and thin to be human, but a lot of commenters mention that the figure does look like a human woman, just a really thin woman who probably isn't okay. It looks like she may have wounds on parts of her body, and she's clearly emaciated. Some think this person may have needed help and that the uploader should contact the police, but I don't know what good that will really do. Personally, it's hard to make anything out from this image, and it's from 2022. So this was someone in distress. I just hope they made it home okay.
Starting off this list today, we are talking about double-headed snakes. Ever been startled by nature's own glitch? Double-headed snakes are one of the most jaw-dropping examples of polycephaly, a condition where an embryo fails to fully split during development. These snakes emerge with 2 heads, each with its own set of instincts that can conflict with one another. Imagine one head wanting to attack while the other hesitates. space. This internal tug of war often leaves the creature struggling to feed or move properly, and while this phenomenon is most famously seen in snakes, it's also been spotted in turtles, lizards, and even birds. It's a wild reminder of how delicate and unpredictable nature can be. Next, we are talking about the cyclopic fish. What could go wrong with a fish's blueprint? Cyclopic fish with a single central eye instead of the usual pair are a startling example of developmental disruption. These mutations typically result from severe genetic errors or exposure to toxins during early growth stages, leaving the fish with a disorienting, almost cartoonish appearance. The lone eye is rarely enough for proper vision, making survival nearly impossible. Scientists study these rare cases to uncover the intricate signaling pathways involved in eye formation, turning what might seem like a gruesome anomaly into a key puzzle piece in understanding developmental biology. Next, we are talking about the amphibian limbs. Ever seen an amphibian that doesn't quite fit the mold? Frogs and salamanders sometimes hatch with extra, missing, or oddly deformed limbs due to genetic glitches or environmental disturbances like pollution and parasitic infections. These mutations don't just make for a bizarre appearance, they can severely impair an animal's ability to escape predators or forage for food. While these deformities might sound like something from a horror story, they also offer researchers invaluable insights into how environmental factors can disrupt the delicate process of limb development in nature. Next, we are talking about the ocular growths. What if a creature's eyes went rogue? In rare cases, amphibians are born with extra or misaligned eyes due to aberrant ocular growth. These malformed structures can throw off the creature's entire visual system, resulting in significant impairments that make it difficult to navigate or to hunt. Although such mutations are extremely uncommon, they provide scientists with a unique window into the complexities of eye development, revealing just how finely tuned and vulnerable these processes really are. Next, we are talking about the insect appendages. Ever noticed an insect that looks like it came with bonus parts? Sometimes genetic errors or environmental stressors cause insects to sprout extra wings, legs, or antennae, turning an ordinary bug into a walking, flying oddity. These extra appendages aren't superpowers. They tend to hinder the insect's ability to move, feed, and survive in the wild. Yet, this bizarre twist of nature's offers entomologists a fascinating glimpse into how even minor disruptions in the genetic blueprint can lead to dramatic and unexpected changes in form and in function. Next, we are talking about turtle shells. What if nature's armor wasn't built to last? Turtles and tortoises sometimes hatch with malformed shells, gaping, asymmetrical, or oddly contoured due to developmental mutations. Their shell is their primary defense against predators, and any flaw can leave them dangerously exposed to environmental hazards. Often linked to temperature fluctuations during embryonic development, these shell deformities are a stark reminder of how even slight changes in early conditions can have life-altering effects on the animal's survival. Next, we are talking about two-tailed lizards. Ever been intrigued by a lizard with an extra tail? Lizards are known for their impressive tail regeneration skills, but sometimes this process goes awry, resulting in a bifurcated or split tail. While a two-tailed lizard might seem like something out of a fantasy novel, the extra tail usually disrupts the creature's balance and coordination, making everyday survival a bit of a tougher challenge. Interestingly, this mutation isn't always permanent. It can be the result of incomplete regeneration following an injury, offering a quirky insight into nature's remarkable yet imperfect repair mechanisms. From turtle shells, we are now talking about Crab shells. What happens when a crab's armor becomes a bit of a burden? Exposure to pollutants or random genetic anomalies can cause crabs to develop grotesquely misshapen exoskeletons. These abnormal growths not only distort the crab's appearance, but also impede its movement and feeding abilities, turning it into an easy target for predators. Despite the grim reality for the affected crabs, studying these mutations helps marine biologists understand the environmental pressures that can disrupt crustacean development and highlights the vulnerability of marine ecosystems to external stressors. Next, we are talking about bird wings. Ever wondered how a bird survives with uneven wings? Some birds hatch with asymmetrical wing development, where one wing is noticeably different in size or shape from the other. This imbalance can be catastrophic, severely limiting their ability to fly, evade predators, or compete for food. Often indicative of deeper developmental issues, such wing deformities serve as a harsh reminder that nature's precise engineering isn't infallible. For the birds affected, even a small deviation in wing symmetry can mean the difference between survival and a life grounded by physical limitations. And finally, to end off this list, we are talking about blob plants. What if a plant's growth turned into a bizarre work of art? Fascination is a mutation where a plant's growing tip becomes elongated, flattened, or swollen, resulting in oddly blob-like structures that defy the usual natural symmetry. Though this mutation might produce a look that's almost otherworldly or a little bit grotesque, it provides scientists with unique insights into the genetic and environmental factors that influence plant development. Triggered by everything from genetic errors to infections or even physical damage, fascination challenges our expectations of natural beauty and reveals the unpredictable side of nature's creative process. Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have the forest encounter. Being in the woods at night is never not scary. Even if you're an experienced outdoors person, there is just something unsettling about the secrets the woods like to hold. This video is absolutely no exception to that. This video was taken back in 2006 in the Catalonian forest, where two men and their families were on a camping trip. I'm not entirely sure what led up to the men taking this video or why they were walking around the forest at night, but regardless of how they got into this position, what happened next is something I'm sure they will never forget. As they walk deeper into this forest, something catches their attention. They see what looks like a mysterious creature on top of a tree branch. As they see the creature, they obviously stop walking and are filming it, scared for what it might be. The forest is of course full of dangerous animals, so it's always good to proceed with caution, but I'm sure these men had no idea just how scary this creature was about to become. As the light from the recorder shines on the creature and the men try to get a closer look, the creature turns its face to look directly at them. The creature's eyes glow in the light with a human-looking head but an inhuman-feeling aura. The men quickly book it out of there, and I have to say, I would do exactly the same thing. After experiencing something like that, I don't think you could ever catch me in the woods again. In our number 9 spot today, we have the skinwalker in the woods. This creepy video was posted to TikTok by the user Adrian Montenegro02, and it was supposed to be just a casual video showing a camping trip with their family that they were taking near Monterrey in Mexico. It should just be a nice casual fun family trip, right? Wrong. Of course not. This video shows the family all hanging out together with one member being pushed on a swing by a couple other members. This is all fine and well, but it's what's in the background that really has viewers concerned and definitely had the family freaking out when they reviewed the footage. In the back, you see a creepy figure moving around. This figure is pale and human looking, and it just moves around quietly like it's trying not to be seen. Is it hiding from the family? Is it planning something sinister? After posting, many viewers began putting forth their theories. Some believe the figure seen in the back is a skinwalker, while others believe it is someone who lives in the woods waiting for their moment to strike. At the end of the day, whatever this thing is, it is sure unsettling, and all I can ask is, why is it watching this family's vacation? In our number 8 spot today, we have Bigfoot. Would this list truly be complete without the sighting of a supposed Bigfoot? This video comes from 2015 when a man named McCamey reported seeing a strange, unexplainable creature hiding in the woods. McCamey was kayaking in a swamp close to Tampa in Florida when he heard a noise, and then he began to see some strange movement. He started recording what he thought was likely a bear or a similar kind of animal, but as he got closer he realized that something more unusual was going on. The creature began to navigate through the alligator-infested water with ease, and it began using its arms to swing through the branches, which is something that isn't really commonly seen with bears, as far as I know. Some people believe this video is a hoax, while others believe this is full-blown proof that Bigfoot is alive and well and living in Florida. What do you think? In our number 7 spot today, we have a cult meeting. This next video comes from a group of friends who were on a casual hike, enjoying themselves, getting some fresh air and exercise, but little did they know they were about to stumble upon something a lot more sinister than a typical day outdoors. As they are hiking on the trail and up a hill, they look back and see some kind of weird secret cult or secret society type meeting. These people begin walking, dressed in white robes, and while that obviously isn't any kind of a crime, it's bizarre, to say the least. The person who took the video also posted another video of this strange encounter because these people didn't just look creepy, they were also making creepy sounds. I can't tell if the sound is music, singing, chanting, screaming, I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it is, it was all creepy enough for these guys to stop their hike, record, and post it on the internet for all of us to watch and wonder, what exactly is going on here? In our number 6 spot today, we have the backyard horror. This video starts off with someone recording in their home. We quickly find out that the reason they started recording is because they noticed something strange in their backyard. Never a good way to start off a video. He apparently was hearing weird voices coming from outside of his house, and of course wanted to record as he investigated, and well, good thing he did. He turns the lights off inside so that he could see what was going on outside better, and well, absolute nightmare fuel ensues when he does this. As he turns the camera to the dark backyard, he suddenly sees a human-like creature come darting towards him. The figure appears to have come from a bush in the backyard, and who knows how long it had been there for. What is so creepy to me is that this creature clearly knew he was looking into the yard at this point, so I want to know how long it was there for, watching him through the windows. Also, what the hell is that thing? Let me know. In our number 5 spot today, we have the creepy figure. This video starts off with a group of men riding their motorcycles through the woods, which honestly already sounds challenging enough. The video seems to be progressing as one would expect until things take a turn for the worse. Quickly, the video descends into terror and madness as they realize that something or someone is chasing them. You can hear one of the men yelling and screaming for help as the other men in front of him begin to pull over and try and figure out what is happening. That would be absolutely jarring to be just on a fun day out with your friends when suddenly one of them starts screaming for help. Absolutely terrifying already, but I don't think any of the men were expecting to see what happens next. A creepy human-like creature can be seen chasing the men, and when one of them gets off the bike, it begins coming up to the bike and toward the group. The men are caught between being utterly terrified of this encounter while also trying to protect their bike from damage or being stolen. You can absolutely hear the panic in their voices as they try to figure out what exactly is going on. In our number 4 spot today, we have this weird creature. This video comes from Australia, which is of course the land of creepy creatures, and whatever is caught on this video is certainly no exception. The person who captured the video was driving through a deserted forest at night, which just already feels like you're asking for trouble. As they are driving through this creepy area and recording, something appears in front of the car. This creature, whatever it is, although it doesn't look like any animals that I know of, quickly disappears just as quickly as it did appear, moving in a strange and very fast way. Let's take another look at this thing, but slowed down a bit. Honestly, I have no explanation for what this is or what it could be. Some believe it's a skinwalker, others believe it's a demon. Whatever you want to believe, let's just hope you never cross paths with it. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Appalachian Trail footage. This next creepy video comes from someone who was hiking by themselves along the Appalachian Trail. He was resting in his tent, again, all alone, when suddenly he began to hear a terrifying screeching sound. I guess when you're out in the wilderness all alone, you really have no choice but to investigate the creepy sound. Better to know where it's coming from than just wait and see and hope for the best. He gets out of his tent and begins recording the sound as he calls out for any response to what could be making this horrifying sound. You can hear the fear in his voice as he tries to shine his light and see as far as he can in the pitch black wilderness. The noise sounds as though it's getting closer and closer, and you can faintly see shadows moving in between the trees as if something knows he is there and is coming to take a look. At one point, it even looks like you can maybe see the reflection of eyes off in the distance. It isn't quite clear exactly what he encountered that day, but whatever it is, I wouldn't want to meet it face to face. In our number 2 spot today, we have the creepy man. This video was taken in a remote area in Montana, out in what appears to be some kind of forest area. Now, a lot of the videos on today's list feature unknown creatures and creepy looking things, but this video looks like it just captures a man. The man gives off a kind of weird vibe to begin with. I mean, he's just standing alone in the woods, which is kind of weird. But the people recording call out to him to see if he's okay, if he needs any help, just to double check, which, you know, that's very nice of them. Unfortunately, instead of just a regular casual encounter, this man suddenly turns into an absolute nightmare. The man begins to move towards the people recording, but not in a normal human way, in a creepy, crawling way that would make anyone feel absolutely disturbed. Was this just a creepy person trying to freak someone out, or was something a little bit more paranormal at play? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the graveyard ghost. Okay, I'll be honest, this video doesn't take place on a trail or in the woods, but it does take place somewhere equally as creepy, and that is a graveyard. Perhaps one of the creepiest places on Earth. It isn't quite clear exactly where this graveyard is, but the person who took the video had initially gone there because they apparently had been hearing some strange noises coming from the cemetery for several days. I feel like if I had heard a strange noise coming from a cemetery, I'd probably call the police, or Ed and Lorraine Warren. The last thing I would ever do would be to take it upon myself to investigate. The curious video taker is clearly braver than I, because they went to explore and definitely found more than they had bargained for. I have absolutely no idea what this thing is, with its elongated limbs and creepy posture. I'm not sure how the person taking the video was able to stand there for so long, but I feel like fight or flight really took over in this case. Was this a ghost, a demon, a zombie? Honestly, at this point, the possibilities are endless.
Exploring woodland trails in the dead of night is not for the faint of heart, especially when you come across anomalies that your brain simply cannot make sense of. We know what a dog looks like, and we know what a pig looks like, but what happens when the two of them are combined together? The person who uploaded this seemed to have the same questions, keeping a close following on the strange animal that you see in the video. What's striking about this weird creature is that it almost looks as if two of its body parts do not belong together. Its head is much bigger than the rest of its smaller body, and the coloration of its fur does not match at all. There's a clear stripe that goes down its head, but stops immediately at its neck. And that's extremely unusual. This spliced creature seems to also carry its prey with ease, not tiring in the slightest despite its size comparison. If you come across its path, would you also be brave enough to follow it? At least with animal-like anomalies, our brains can easily categorize the creature as some sort of species that maybe hadn't been discovered yet until that very day. But what if it was a supernatural monster that looked eerily similar to a human? Taking a nighttime ride on their bikes, a group of guys come across this eerie person-like form, except they are completely bare from head to toe, without even a speck of hair on their head. This is not at all like a normal thing to come across in an open area. I'm getting extremely uncanny valley vibes the longer I look at this thing. The way it carries its arms and how it walks, and not to mention the slow turnaround it does when it's approached by the bikers. Extremely bold of them, might I add. It almost unironically reminds me of a Ken doll, completely stripped of everything that remotely resembles a normal human being. Something is just not right about this video. And like the two bikers in the beginning of the video, you will not catch me sticking around to find out what that thing is. There's something magical and almost fairy-like about wanting to walk around in the woods in a delicate nightgown and maybe some braids in my hair and flowers. But in the daytime, not in an absolute pitch black forest where I can't even see 5 feet in front of me. Environment and atmosphere is everything when it comes to photography, and this trail cam photo definitely nailed the taking of Deborah Logan look. As you can see, this still image shows what may appear to be an older woman walking through the woods at night. I say older because of the vintage nightgown, which I totally don't own myself. The owner of this trail cam is unknown, and I think that makes it all the more scary. Where did it come from? Who is this strange woman? And will we ever find out why she's out in the woods by herself? All I know is I hope she's all right. Having the safety of a car when traveling alone at night definitely brings me more comfort and ease knowing that there is at least some sort of barrier between me and whatever may be out there lurking within the darkness. An account named Creepy Outdoors on TikTok uploaded this video online, showing what appears to be a solo hiker trying to enjoy a peaceful night alone out in a forest trail. Now, I'm not the one to judge, but you should always make sure to have someone with you when you're being this brave. Throughout his journey, the man felt off and decided to end his journey early. However, finally making it back into that safe barrier of his car, he started to hear a strange knocking coming from the back window. This happens multiple times, and the second time sounding more urgent and slightly aggressive than the first. Finally being taken out of freeze mode, the hiker goes to investigate, only to find something he truly wishes he didn't see. A handprint is outlined on the back window, only it wasn't a human, as he lightly outlines with his finger of its rough shape. Thankfully, the TikToker is safe and nothing else came out of this encounter. But still, what could have possibly been knocking that much to get his attention? Especially if it wasn't a human that was doing it. I truly do believe there are hidden secrets that our Earth holds from us, and whether it be from the government or something completely out of this world, I aim to keep an open mind about them. As my jealousy exceeds me, these two hikers were given the opportunity to catch such a sighting. Or so they claim. They appeared to be in a canyon of sorts, and seemingly had stopped in the middle of their journey because they allegedly saw a door open on the side of a hillside wall. This is actually disturbing because as they zoom in on the hill, you can actually see a door-shaped cutout within the rock. I feel if I do look at it long enough, my brain will start to make me think, or make me see it opening and closing as well. My guess is, there's gotta be something sort of secret base in there if what they're telling us is true. Now I want to go out there and find out for myself. But like always, only in the daytime, and maybe with 5 to 10 friends supporting me. Staying within the woods for a short period of time for a little hike is all fine and dandy. What if you choose to stay there for multiple nights? By yourself? This camper is much braver than me, and thankfully recorded his journey of a strange anomaly that happened to him on his solo trip. It was all fine in the beginning, until things began to happen as his journey progressed into the nighttime. Hearing some noises outside, he proceeds out of his camper with caution, only to notice the flickering of a light way off in the distance. Getting closer to it, he notices that it's a flashlight that wasn't left by him. Clearly, he wasn't alone in these woods. And I quote from him, "A flashlight just doesn't fall out of the sky." Taking a break and trying to compose himself, he steps away from the flashlight after taking it with him, only to come back and notice that it was turned on and moved from the original spot he placed it down in. You've got to be kidding me! I'd pack up and leave right after that. But clearly this guy was no quitter and proceeded to stay the night, even sleeping it off, before making it to the morning and leaving as soon as the sun came up. He was incredibly lucky nothing had happened to him, and I think it's better we never find out who or what was playing this sick joke on him, because for all we know, it could have been someone with not so great intentions. Being able to catch a real ghost on camera has and always will be one of the greatest achievements of our lifetimes. Whenever I go hiking out in the woods, I always like to record my findings, but I don't know how I feel when it comes to much older buildings. The man recording this video seemingly comes out of the brush after hiking for a bit and stumbles upon a church. I don't blame him for wanting to record, as old-style churches are incredibly beautiful and intricate in its design. However, as it pans down to get a view of the whole building, we see that there is a woman there watching him film, probably wanting to introduce himself and maybe explain why he's taking a video. It only gets all the more scarier as the woman disappears completely as he turns the corner. And I do mean completely. The only logical explanation if you would call it that, is that she had gone through the wall itself. It was never explained who this girl was, and the hiker never sees her again after that. But if it was truly a ghost, I personally wouldn't stay any second longer in that location. Were you the type of child that liked to run on all fours? Or would you run up the stairs like a dog or a cat? I definitely was, because it was fun, silly, and harmless. Would you say the same if it came to seeing it outside in the darkness? Seeing this video definitely freezes me in place, as we clearly see what may appear to be a child or a woman standing on all fours, aggressively shaking their head in an unnatural way. If I were to come across this and saw that thing down the trail, you better believe I'm turning in the opposite direction. I am not playing here. Not to mention the way it's standing, how all its limbs are completely straightened out, not like how humans will have a natural bend in their knees or arms when placing themselves in this position. If this came running towards you at full speed, what do? I think my heart would stop, and I'd give up and let the creature take me. Maybe it'll raise me as one of their own. Who knows? Now these next group of guys are smart. You always want to stick together as a group when exploring forest trails in the dark. And even better that they have bikes. All the more easier to get away from whatever could be chasing you within the dark, confusing landscape of the woods. This one you really need to slow down and watch carefully, because you might just miss it. It all happens so fast, mainly because of the speed that these guys are tearing up. But right at the beginning, you can see our main guy with the GoPro swerve out of the way from what appears to be a figure dressed in all black, with the only clear area of skin that's shown is its hand. The creature seemed to also completely unbothered, especially when two bikes had already passed. This strikes me as very odd. Not even a single reaction coming from the anomaly. Some speculate that it was some sort of witch, which isn't a bad guess, and considering the tattered, long black clothing that they were wearing, which stereotypical cartoon witches wear. I've only heard stories of unknown creatures running across the front of a car of a dark trail, and I'm glad it's only that I've experienced. With the lack of streetlights and only being dependent on the soft glow of your headlights, who knows what you'll find out there within the comfort of a dark forest. Right as the car turns the corner, we see far off into the distance of what appears to be an incredibly large beast bolt across the street, as if they're the ones being surprised by the sudden appearance. Are you kidding me? I'm terrified of you, pal. You're the size of 6 of me stacked up. And if you look closely, were those two tails I saw? Or antennas?
Number 10, alien caught on camera. In September 2024, this mysterious figure was caught on camera. Its movement activated the trail cam, and it appears to have a glowing body and an orb-shaped head. This is one of those eerie sightings that sends shivers right down your spine, especially with all the drone stuff happening. Is this an alien? The soft, otherworldly glow that it gives off only adds to its unsettling, odd appearance, making it seem as if it's straight out of a sci-fi nightmare. Its form seems definitely unnatural. That's not an animal for sure. Now some say it is an optical illusion, possibly lens flare or a strange reflection off the lens, making it appear far larger than it actually is. Yet the way the light plays around its figure leaves many wondering, could it be something we can't explain? Or is it just another trick of the eye? Either way, the mysterious nature of this alien image still holds a creepy allure, leaving you to wonder if there's something more out there. Number 9, Ghost Woman. This photo comes to us from Brandon Cottrell. They say, quote, "When I was setting up the trail cameras that day, it felt like I wasn't alone outside. The eerie part is that a young woman went missing in this very area back in the late 80s, and despite years of searching, they've never found any remains. That history combined with this photo, remind me to never go in the woods again. I'm just gonna stay inside forever. We're good." It's hard not to imagine that whatever was out there that day could have been linked to the disappearance, as if something or someone has been watching the area for all of these years, just waiting for the right time to reveal itself. That was spooky. Sent shivers down my back reading that one. Whenever I do this with my hands, how you know it's real. Number 8, Ghost Snake. What in the world is this? This strange figure zipped past the camera not once, but twice, leaving us all scratching our heads. It's completely unexplainable, especially considering it was caught in the middle of nowhere, deep in the upper Midwest. No one can figure out what it is or where it came from. The way it moved so quickly, so purposefully, has us questioning everything. Could it be something we've never seen before up until now? Or is there another explanation that we're missing? I can't figure it out. I can't even think about what animal this could be. Last I checked, electric eels don't fly, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I have a coffee bean or something stuck in my... something in there. It's right there. I feel it. Number 7, Montana Grim Reaper. This one comes from a user and they say, my grandpa lives in rural Montana, and one day one of his friends from town came into the local bar looking completely shaken. So my grandpa then said that he was in a state of shock almost. His face was as pale as a ghost. He was reluctant to show the photos at first, worried that people might think that he was losing his mind. I mean, more than fair. He owns a big piece of land and has trail cameras set up to track wildlife. That part's not weird. But when he went through the footage, that's when he found something quite odd. My grandpa's wife sent the photos to a nearby university for analysis, and to their surprise, the professor couldn't explain what they were looking at. So what do you think this is? Or who? Any ideas on what could be lurking? What are your best theories? Comment down below. Number 6, Chain Man. This user anonymously posted this photo online with an eerie backstory. They say, my uncle set up a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which is now abandoned. Abandoned, that's the key word here. The camera takes 3 photos every time it detects motion, but this strange figure only shows up in 1 of the 3 shots. They have no idea what it was. They say, I'm not saying it's a ghost, though I don't really believe in that stuff. Hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but that's for sure a ghost. Either there's a man living there or there's a ghost living there. One of the two. Good game. Thanks for sharing. Number 5, the last hike. Dalen Kaloa went missing during a hike on the infamous Haiku Stairs, also known as the Stairway to Heaven. Ironically enough. On the morning of February 27th, 2015, Dalen told his family that he planned to hike this dangerous, illegal trail. Now, throughout the hike, he sent several photos to his family, but in one image, they noticed something quite strange in the background. They noticed an unidentified man just standing there, almost lurking, watching his every moves. Dalen never returned, and despite extensive searches, he was never found. So now, of course, his family is seeking the public's help to identify this man in the background of the photo, believing, of course, that he might hold vital information that could lead to Dalen's whereabouts. This haunting mystery remains unsolved, leaving many to wonder, could this unidentified man provide the key to uncovering what happened that day? Or even worse, was this man responsible? Number 4, Battleground Ghost. In 1862, 3 major battles were fought in what now is the Maryland section of the Appalachian Trail. Now, the sheer number of casualties in these battles, of course, create an eerie atmosphere, with many soldiers losing their lives on that land. Today, hikers report seeing ghostly soldiers, strange campfires, and even hearing cannon blasts echoing in the distance, almost as if the spirits of the fallen soldiers are still present. Now, one haunting site is near the farm of Daniel Wise. Visitors to the area have claimed to see ghostly figures wandering the land, adding to the chilling history of this part of the trail. This photo here was taken in May 2015 in that exact same spot. Do you believe this is a ghost from a civil battle? Comment down below. What do you think this is? Number 3, Halloween Ghost. Captured, of course, on Halloween Day 2023, this eerie image shows what appears to be a ghostly figure, a ghostly white figure clinging onto an old tree. Now, the form is faint, almost human, not quite, but almost there, and it's blurred, and the low quality makes it seem like it's drifting between this world and another. It raises the question, could it be a simple trick of light with the sun casting strange shadows through the branches, perfectly explainable, or is this someone or something who has quietly been watching from the shadows all along, only now revealing itself to those who look closely? This looks a lot like something I saw when I was younger. I always wondered if I saw a ghost or if I was just seeing things. Now I'm starting to think it's the former. Number 2, Headless Deer. Like something straight out of a dark fairy tale, this image captures a deer that, well, seems to be missing its head, doesn't it? Wandering the forest with an eerie sense of purpose. Perhaps, where's my head? Maybe that's a good purpose, trying to find that. Its disembodied form stirs an unsettling feeling, as if it's lost, aimlessly drifting through the woods, haunting anyone who crosses its path. Now, I know this is most likely an illusion, but the way the deer is angled, I'll be honest, I really can't see how its head can be positioned in order for this to happen. Imagine seeing this on your trail cam one morning. Ugh, I would be sick. And finally, number 1, Mount St. Helens. On May 18th, 1980, David A. Johnston, a dedicated volcanologist, stood over Mount St. Helens, aware of the growing signs of unrest. Now, given the date of this photo, you can probably guess what happens next. This was 13 hours before the devastating eruption, and he made his last transmission over the radio. He said, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." And he was not wrong. Those haunting words echoed into silence as the volcano did erupt, sending ash and destruction all across the landscape. Now, despite extensive search efforts, David's remains were never found, except for this photo, which of course leaves behind a chilling reminder of nature's unpredictable power and the sacrifices made, all in the name of science.
And we're gonna kick off this list with what I'm just gonna call the zombie. Reddit user Love is a Love an Axe uploaded this image a couple years back, and it's pretty haunting. They wrote, "My uncle has a trail cam at my old grandparents' house, which are both dead, and the house is abandoned. The camera takes 3 pics every time a motion is detected. This thing only appears in 1 out of 3 of the photos." They also elaborated in a comment down below saying, "For more info for anyone wondering, my uncle was up there and left. The trail cam caught him leaving in his car completely. The trail cam takes pictures so fast it looks like stop motion if looked through quickly. And this thing walks up 6 minutes after he left. It's only in a few pics, and the time says the thing was only on screen for 1 second. In the next picture, it's just gone. Never walked out of frame, just went away." And you know what, if all that's true, then this is pretty freaky. Whatever this figure is does not appear to be normal. Its limbs seem all messed up, its clothes look all ragged. It looks like an undead corpse roaming around in the middle of the night. Number 9, the large creature. This next image was posted to Reddit by user Adjacent Gunman and shows something. It's hard to make out what's going on here, but the user said it was taken on a trail cam on his property and looks to be a very tall creature of some sort holding a coyote by the throat. This second image is a bit more brightened, and you can definitely see the thing's eyes pop out a bit more, but it still blends in with the darkness. You don't get a sense of what its body looks like at all. So if it is a Sasquatch of some kind, it has some pretty dark fur. Some commenters said it could be a hunter on his property, but the uploader said it's not possible, or at least highly unlikely, as the placement of the eyes beside his cabin would make whatever this thing is about 8 feet tall. Now, looking at the coyote's limbs, they look very angular, almost photoshopped perhaps, or maybe whatever the creature holding it is, like it's maybe blocking part of its body. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Let us know in the comments what you think. This footage was uploaded to the YouTube channel Jimmy B Trail Cams and shows what looks to be a large, hairy creature walking across the screen through the trees. Jimmy B uploads all kinds of trail cam videos in Birch Bay, Washington. There are videos of foxes, wolves, hawks, owls, and this. And that's kind of what sells it for me. Like, this isn't someone who just seems to be a Bigfoot enthusiast. He just seems to have a passion for wildlife of all kinds. Probably wasn't even trying to capture something mysterious like this, but just happened to. And the footage is not super clear, but for a Bigfoot video, you do see quite a bit. The bar is not very high for Bigfoot videos. You see that the creature moves with this classic Bigfoot gait. Its arms hang by its sides. It seems to have like a pretty long strides. He posted an update after uploading this footage saying 4 of his 8 trail cameras were missing the day after this footage was taken. So that's mysterious. Number 7, the skunk ape. Just recently, this image captured on a Florida game cam was shared online. The image was taken in Ocala National Park in a hunter's food plot and shows some kind of ape-like creature. Definitely ain't a deer. And I gotta say, if someone is just in a costume here, good job. It looks pretty convincing. I don't look at this image and go, oh, that's a gorilla costume. The fur just looks too, for lack of a better word, real. And the face looks like an actual animal. The dude who shared the image said, looks almost like it's holding a baby with its fingers on the mother's nose. I can kind of see that, but what do you all think? Let us know in the comments once again. At our number 6 spot, we have what I like to call too many deer. Now, this image certainly isn't as ominous as some of the others on this list, and I am quite fond of deer. They're majestic, they're beautiful and elegant animals, but there's something a little unsettling about this image. Like, there's just too many goddamn deer in this forest. It looks like a deer army. It's reminding me of Saruman's Uruk-hai, like swarming the forest to capture Frodo here. Right? Isn't everyone else thinking that? Looking at this picture? Everywhere you look, there's another deer. They just go on for miles, it looks like. I guess too much of anything, though, is kinda icky, right? Like, take cats, for example. Adorable on their own, but like only to a point. Too many, and things get a little uncomfortable. the stereotypical crazy cat lady, it's a thing for a reason. I also think the fact that every single one of them is staring directly into the camera makes it kind of off-putting. This was obviously taken with the flash on, so it's a deer in headlights kind of situation, but looking at this picture, I still have a bit of like a, oh god, like, what do you want from me kind of feeling. Next on the list, we have the ghost. So take a look at this image. What do you see? Well, obviously there is, once again, another deer in the foreground looking up at something. But just what the hell is that in the background? It's hard to make out exactly what this odd shape is. To me, it looks like a naked Voldemort howling at the moon. It looks ghostly, too, only the bust is fully formed. The rest of it looks like it fades out, almost like mist. Maybe there's a pond behind the deer, and that's what this thing is, like, maybe submerged in? It's hard to tell, but this is kind of a freaky image. A pale, bald ghost screaming in pain behind a confused deer. I can make out what looks to be a brow ridge, a wide open mouth. Whatever it is, it looks like it to have maybe a gaunt, almost skeletal face. This would actually make for a perfect like black metal album cover. Just throw some overly complex, indistinguishable text on there and you're good. Next up, we have the clown. These mysterious images have been floating around online since at least 2010. They could even have been taken before. No one is exactly sure. We're not even 100% sure where the trail cam photos were taken, so this could very well be a hoax. But if it isn't, and someone's trail cam just happened to snap a couple pictures of some mysterious man in a clown costume roaming around in the forest, then that makes these images very nightmarish. The image was used in a news story about the string of weird clown sightings that happened in the summer of 2016. Anyone remember that? But it was discovered that the image was actually uploaded to the Field and Stream Facebook page in 2010, a well-known hunting and fishing page. So whoever this was, they were donning their clown outfit and heading out to the forest long before that magical clown-crazed summer of 2016 that we all miss. Some say he was just joking around. Godswallop, in my opinion. Nope, I reckon he's still out there, clowning around and carrying on. But one thing's absolutely certain. Something about this image stumped the internet. That's why it's famous. That's why nobody knows his name. He's the clown who hid. Number 3, we have the werewolf. In May of 2022, at the Amarillo Zoo in Texas, one of the cameras picked up this creature at around 1:30 in the morning. Now, whatever this thing is, it was walking around outside of the zoo, so it wasn't likely to be one of their animals unless something escaped. And if it is an escaped animal, well, what exactly is it? Like a lemur wearing a lion mask? It seems to be walking on its hind legs, so unless the camera just happened to snap a four-legged creature while it stood upright for a brief moment, it's hard to imagine this being a wolf or a dog. Speaking of wolves though, a lot of folks have been comparing this to maybe a werewolf, and I can definitely see that. It looks to be pointy ears, it's got a mane of fur on its back. I also think it looks maybe a bit alien, but again, let us know what you think down below. I think if we all put our heads together, we can crack this case. Coming in at second place, we have another ghost. This image was captured in Whiteman Hill in Wayland, New York, and was shared by Kelly Morgan, who found the image on her brother's trail cam. It depicts some sort of ghostly figure roaming around in front of the camera. There's some sort of beauty in this image a little bit. The figure looks like it's glowing a little bit. Morgan made a statement saying that her grandmother told her a story about 3 men who took the life of a 17-year-old on her wedding day in 1882. Apparently the girl was buried in a cemetery nearby. So could this image be the tortured soul of that bride wandering through the woods in the dead of night? Or is it just a hoax? And finally, we have the rake. In this clip shared by TikTok user Cryptalker, we see a strange, lanky creature crawling through someone's backyard on all fours. It seems to resemble the famous rake internet phenomenon where the most famous creepy trail camera picture comes from. This one here, yeah, we've all seen that image, right? A gaunt, pale, spindly looking creature staring into the camera in the dead of the night. Well, this thing looks kind of like that. I'd say it could be someone just walking around on all fours, but whatever this thing is, it's incredibly thin, way too small to be human. All I know is I don't like this thing. It looks like an even longer, lankier, creepier version of Gollum. How many fantasy movie references did I make in that list? I think like 4. I don't know how Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings got in there, but is what it is. And we're kicking off the list with the bear. I wanted to start off with this one because it's actually a story a buddy of mine told me from when he used to work as a camp counselor. So yeah, he would take kids out on these like long treks through the woods on these canoe trips. It'd be about like 2 weeks long, some of them. And one day they were out, they'd found a camping spot and they put up their tents and everything for the night. They'd had a fire, everyone went to bed, the counselors were in their tents, and then they heard a sound which sounded like a large animal stalking around in the woods, kind of around their campsite. They kind of whispered to each other like, what should we do? We have all these campers here with us, they obviously have to protect them. They got out of their tents and they decided to shoot off a flare. They had some flares specifically for bear encounters, and at this point they pretty much know it's a bear. Like, they hear it growling and it's like, yeah, it's pretty clear what this is. They fire the flare off in the direction where they're hearing this growling, and it's nighttime now so they can't really see anything. But as the flare starts shooting through the woods, it just illuminates this big like black bear, like just kind of illuminated through the flare, at which point it luckily turns around and runs into the forest. But yeah, suffice to say, they're pretty shook after that. Like, what would they have done if the bear didn't decide to run away? Yeah, freaky stuff. All right, next up we have a tale I'm going to call The Vanishing Man. This story was posted to Reddit by user Throwaway Friend, and I gotta say, if this happened to me, I'd be shaken up for a long time. I definitely felt a chill up my spine reading this one, so here it goes. Back in 2015, I was on a hiking trail in Arizona. I have hiked a lot in worse terrains in Europe, so I wasn't too worried about doing it alone. It was almost getting dark, and I was at an eerily deserted stretch for what felt like hours now. Suddenly, I heard a kind of music. As I kept going, I realized it was someone whistling. It gave me the creeps, but the idea of company relieved me a bit, too. Soon enough, I saw a man in front of me walking the same direction. He was wearing a t-shirt and pants, which was surprisingly inadequate, especially for the impending night. I passed him by. He was the one whistling, indeed. Turned to say the customary greetings. He looked up, deadpan, and without a word, turned back down towards the ground and kept whistling. He was walking slowly in an almost trance-like manner. I quickly averted my gaze forward, and almost abruptly, the whistling stopped. I turned back to see what had happened, and there was absolutely no one on the trail. Zilch. Didn't even feel like anyone had been there. At our number 8 spot, we have The Skeleton. The story was posted to Reddit by WhaleHeart0129. When they were 11, they went camping with their mom, her boyfriend, and their little brother outside of Las Vegas, in the middle of the desert. One morning, the group decided to go arrowhead hunting. During their hike, they stumbled on a full human skeleton laid out on a blanket, tucked under a bush. The person appeared as if they had fallen asleep and never woken up. The boyfriend knelt down, offering a prayer over the remains, and then they all walked back to the campsite in complete silence, each person just shocked by what they'd seen. They promptly contacted the ranger, and the boyfriend later got into a helicopter to guide them to the location of the remains. Turned out to be a young man who had been missing for almost a year. Next up on the list, we have a story shared by Reddit user Particular Night 392, who wrote about an odd creature they came face to face with while hiking. So in early 2019, they went hiking with a friend. After walking for at least 30 minutes, they heard a rustling in a bush a few feet in front of them, and then a deer emerged, but something about it seemed kinda off. The creature lacked a tail, its ears were unusually small, almost invisible. Its eyes were abnormally large, giving it an almost goat-like appearance. The deer, or whatever this thing was, just stood still, fixated on the hikers. As it began to approach, they noticed something was off about its eyes, too. They weren't the usual brown, but a dark, piercing red. Their friend, who was visibly shaken, remained still beside them. When the deer ventured too close for comfort, the friend grabbed their arm and they both ran, not daring to look behind them. Number 6, lights. The Trek is this website dedicated to all things hiking. When readers were asked to share some of their creepiest stories while hiking, Sarah Legg posted this one. It was a long, rainy and cold night. Having just settled into her tent for the night with her canine companion, she was aware of being only a mile from a lengthy dirt road. Any sounds or lights were quickly dismissed as coming from said road. Lying in the tent, she began to hear unsettling noises resembling raindrops on a raincoat, as if someone were moving around the tent. Less than 5 minutes later, a flash of light caught Sarah's attention. She thought maybe another camper had arrived, but she hadn't seen anyone. The lights formed a horizontal pattern around the tent, blinking from left to right as if someone was circling the tent. She tried to tell herself it was just car lights, but then things took an unexpected turn. The lights appeared above the tent, maintaining a perfect formation. Sarah, realizing that the lights couldn't be explained by nearby cars or reflections, started to get really unsettled. She covered her face with her sleeping bag, praying that whatever it was wouldn't pose any harm. She never found out what those lights were. Next up, we have another story shared by a different commenter, Jerry DeJong, on the same Trek site. So some years back, Jerry had been out hiking near Mount Shasta with a buddy. They had set up a camp for the night, cowboy camping by a crackling fire, enjoying cold beers and cooking up a pair of steaks. Then, out of the blue, Jerry's friend took a log and started whacking it against a tree. According to him, it was how Bigfoot communicates. Jerry encouraged him to give it another shot. He knocked at the tree again, and sure enough, a few minutes later, 4 distinct knocks echoed in the distance, loud enough to be something hefty smacking against a tree. Minutes crawled by, and it happened again. Both of them could sense something sizable moving in the forest. 4 knocks, followed by 2, roughly 100 yards away. Next thing they knew, they were packing up camp in record time as the sounds of something large moved in the forest only 20 to 30 yards away. Jerry had heard large animals in the woods before, grizzly bears, elk, moose, but whatever this thing was, it sounded nothing like any of those. And at number 4, we have the banana spider. This is a tale shared with us on Reddit by user Kamala2024. More of an icky discovery than a dark one, but if you have a fear of creepy crawlies, this story is going to make you cringe. So here's the story. Hiking early morning in Hawaii, and my stomach notifies me that it's time to go number 2. I find a porta potty near the trailhead and jump in to do my business. Once complete, I flip my headlamp on to find the toilet paper, but instead find a huge 5 inches in diameter banana spider hanging out in the corner of the porta potty. Trying not to spook it, I slowly reached for the 1-ply. As I do, my headlamp shines on this monster and it proceeds to freak the F out. It runs in circles for a bit, both of us losing our minds at this point, and ends up between my legs inside of my underwear. I'm at a complete loss of what to do, but eventually begin wiggling back and forth in an attempt to get this spider to remove itself. That didn't work at all. Instead of exiting the premises, this mother effer runs up my leg. This is the point where I just give up and storm out of the porta potty, yelling and screaming. Pants around my ankles. No clue what happened to the spider, but it disappeared in a flash, just like my dignity. Our next story is called The Lost Hiker. It was shared by a man named Jeff Fissel. One weekend, Jeff headed down to Wilson's Creek Wilderness for a camping trip with a buddy. As the night settled in, Jeff woke up to find his tent mate crouched over him brandishing a knife. Jeff was obviously pretty petrified, thinking his friend was about to knife him, but trying to keep his cool, he asked, "Hey man, what's going on?" His friend whispered, "Listen," and after what felt like an eternity, a spine-chilling call echoed through the wilderness. Jeff sprang up and grabbed his own knife. The eerie voice drew closer. The unsettling voice lingered nearby, then slowly moved away, still emanating eerie sounds. The next morning, Jeff and his buddy struggled to make sense of the strange encounter. Packed up, and on the trail, they stumbled on an orange ribbon with a message. It was for a lost day hiker who hadn't returned the previous day, suspected to be hungry, cold, and wandering the area all night. That must have been the man making the noises the night before. They realized they likely ignored a lost hiker. The problem was he never really asked for help, only making ghostly moans. Number 2, that's not Kevin. This one was shared by Cookies Choco, whose friends came face to face with something in the woods that they thought was their friend. The story goes as follows. I was in the woods with 3 friends at night. A friend's house was nearby, and I was getting hungry, so I went inside to find some food. Another friend came inside with me. 2 friends were still outside. Later on, one of the 2 who were outside comes in and sees the indoor friend on the couch next to me. They panic and immediately run back outside. I poke my head out the door asking what's going on, only to hear them yell as loudly as they can, "That's not Kevin!" Everyone comes inside and calms down a bit, and the story comes out. They thought the friend who was indoors with me, Kevin, had been outside with them this entire time. Why? Because in the darkness of the woods they saw a silhouette about the same height walking alongside them silently. And then at some point it ran away and they were chasing it thinking Kevin was running off for some reason. The reason my friend yelled, "That's not Kevin," was to stop the last outdoor friend from chasing whoever was out deeper into the woods. We still have no idea what that was or why they didn't ever speak. Finally, we have what I'm going to call the tale of the happy truck. This is a first-hand account shared to Reddit by Dying Lion. If this story is true, it's up there with some of the eeriest stories I've seen on Reddit. They describe the creepiest experience they had while hiking, not being with any wild animal, but with a little black pickup truck with rainbow and unicorn stickers. They were out walking their dog when they encountered the vehicle. It was blasting bubblegum pop music and smelled like cotton candy when it rolled by. First time it passed, it took a weird swerve toward them like it was aiming to hit. They quickly jumped out of the way, no big deal. Figured the driver may have got spooked seeing someone out at night with the reflective gear, but then the truck circled back and started driving right for them. This time, they were ready, snatched up their dog and jumped into a ditch. The car just missed them. Over the noise of the engine, there was this eerie, high-pitched maniacal laughter, sounding like it was coming from a little girl. The tiny truck pulled the same stunt for a 3rd time, but by then they ducked into a neighbor's shrubbery. From the hiding spot, they watched the little truck slowly cruise down the road, the creepy giggles echoing as it passed. Luckily, it kept on going, never to be seen again.
In our number 10 spot, we have the zombie. On November 10th, 2012, a creature was caught on a trail cam. Now, there is much speculation over this picture, as a lot of people say that it's 100% a zombie. The thing is, logically, it's just a bald, tanned human with his shirt off walking through the woods at night. But his eyes do seem to be glowing, and his stance looks like he's walking straight out of the Walking Dead TV show. So, hey, maybe he is a zombie. Some people think he has an opened wound on the right side of his chest, which is why he is believed to be a zombie, but that part of the image is too blurry to confirm this. I mean, the most curious part is the fact that it's November and this person thing is shirtless. But who knows? Perhaps he was doing some kind of illicit and that's why the cold isn't bugging him. Or he could be a zombie. One of the two. In our number 9 spot, we have the Grim Reaper. On the 10th of July in 2012, a trail cam picked up what looks like to be the Grim Reaper walking around in the woods. Okay, well, obviously it's a man dressed up like the Grim Reaper, but still really scary, and if I were in the woods and accidentally stumbled into him, I would assume that I was as good as dead anyway, because only a killer would dress up like this on a day that wasn't Halloween. Okay guys, legit, I had a dream about the Grim Reaper the other night. It chopped my head off. What do you think that means? Is my subconscious mind telling me that I've lost my head about something in my life? In our number 8 spot, we have the clown. Yeah, there's way too many creepy clowns hanging out in the woods. This is a classic trail cam capture that you may have seen before, as it's one of those chilling photos that has made its way around the internet. It's so creepy, you can't imagine anything else, but after this picture, he definitely pulled a John Wayne Gacy. Apparently this photo was taken on August 30th, 2009, and this clown seems like he's looking straight into the camera, so he must have spotted it. But man, what the heck was a grown man wearing a clown suit in the hottest time of the year doing walking through the woods? It's August, brah. He was definitely sweating under there. Anyways, regardless, even if it was a cooler day, this photo still has a very creepy vibe, and I wish I could unsee it, not gonna lie. In our number 7 spot, we have the deer. This one is so unsettling, but also because, man oh man, poor deer. This is a picture caught on a hunter's trail cam of a very sick deer wandering the forest with many sores and boils all over its body. I just want to say, aw, Bambi. It's so sad. It looks like they even cover his eyes so he can't even see clearly, which honestly just makes my heart hurt even more. I wonder what disease caused him to have this, and I really hope that he passed away peacefully without too much pain. It's weird because you never think about deers dying this way, even though of course they pass from regular disease too. But anyways, this shot was super shocking to see. In our number 6 spot, we have the demon in the back. In 2010, a picture of a guy and possibly his daughter was taken on a Bushnell trail cam that completely freaked out the world. It could even be a couple, it's kinda hard to tell, the girl looks rather young. Anyways, it's not their extremely smiley faces in the middle of the night that have creeped everyone out, even though, why the heck are they smiling so late at night into a trail cam? Possibly for the jokes of it, I probably would too, but still, why? Anyways, in the far top right hand side corner, if you look closely, you'll see what looks to be a literal demon, watching them in the distance. I mean, if it's not a demon, then it's a half human, half werewolf, or full werewolf, or naked human, possibly. Whatever it is, it's pale, and for sure not wearing clothes if it is a human. But its eyes are glowing, so something tells me a demon is afoot. I bet you 2 seconds later, they were goners. I hope they got away safely though. I can't say got away safely without thinking of Pokemon and running away from Pokemon in the tall grass. Oh, the childhood years. Our brains were so impressionable. Coming up at our number 5 spot, we have the Wolf Girl. The timestamp and location of this next photo is unknown, but what is known is the fact that there is what looks to be a little female human in the middle of the woods at night, seemingly conversing with a wolf and pointing to the camera, in which she and the wolf are looking straight into. Either that or the wolf was creeping up behind her, and 1 second later she was dinner. But regardless, this is such a creepy pic to see. This girl is probs a ghost. If not, then her mother really needs to keep better tabs on her child, who is seemingly walking through the forest at night with a wolf. Just creepy. But maybe it's cute. Maybe they're besties. Okay, let's move on. In our number 4 spot, we have the Wizard of Oz monkey bat. If you haven't ever watched the Wizard of Oz, then damn, you have missed out, as it's such a classic. But honestly, drop what you're doing right now and go watch it. I'm not joking. Okay, anyways, so for those of you that have seen it, you know how in the Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch has these monkey demon-like bats that do her bidding for her. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they are real. You may think so as well after viewing this trail cam capture. In this capture, there is something that looks exactly like the monkey demon-like bat in the right side of the pic, chasing what looks like possibly a deer. Whatever it is, it has wings and looks nothing like anything I've ever seen before, besides in the movies. What the heck do you think it is if it's not the creature that stepped right out of that cult classic? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section. In our number 3 spot, we have the Burlington Boogeyman. This trail cam shot had the people of Burlington, Pennsylvania alarmed. There is an old urban legend that tells the story of a ghost that haunts the forests of Burlington. The ghost is supposed to be the ghost of a Native American chief whose spirit is on the planet still, as he must avenge his fallen tribe. they say. There have been many sightings of the spirit, and people say that it looks like a sort of floating skeleton, which I guess you could maybe see in this photo, but I also see a transparent owl or large animal in ghost form. I don't know. Whatever it is creepy, and people have taken this trail cam shot as proof of its existence. Well, it's definitely proof of something existing. The people of Burlington, beware. Enemies of the air, beware. I can't help but to quote Harry Potter, always. Can anyone else relate? In our number 2 spot, we have the alien. Okay. If you aren't a believer in aliens, then explain this. What is this? What is that if not an alien? An alien ghost? First off, it's transparent, so that leads me to think it's a ghost. Second, it looks like the adult version of E.T., so that leads me towards an alien. Could there be alien ghosts out there? I think yes. But seriously though, what is that behind that deer? Like, what is it? Here we have a cute deer smiling for the cam, and behind it is some kind of laughing alien ghost. I'm truly open to your thoughts on what this is, because I'm lost for words. Whatever it is, it's frightening. Although it looks like it's having a good time laughing, so maybe it's not a scary alien ghost. It's Casper the Jolly Alien Ghost. Okay, I'm stopping. Alright, I'm done. In our number 1 spot, we have the Tree Demon. Okay, I'm sorry about this title, but honestly, what the heck do you call this thing that was caught on this trail cam? There are no time or date stamps to report, but how the heck can this be real? This creature looks like it walked straight out of the movie Pan's Labyrinth, and I may not sleep tonight at the thought of it being real. It has a bit of a goat man vibe, am I right? But if someone told me that this creature was birthed by a tree, then I also would not be surprised. He looks like he's in the middle of discovering that he's on film and about to block his face. I don't know, man. If this shot is real, then I conclude that aliens are real, magic is real, and I must be getting my Hogwarts letter soon. It's just 21 years delayed. Whatever. 21 years since I've been 11.